When you sew your own clothes, we find ourselves having to mend things because we want them to last a long time. I've always been really bad with this. I really appreciate the value of it and I do want to do it. The thing is, I would put all of my mending in a pile and then forget about it. And I feel like sometimes I procrastinated because I keep building it up in my head that it's going to be like this huge task or that it's going to be super boring or that it's going to be very challenging. And most of the times it isn't. Most of the times it's really fast. It's not that big of a deal. My mending pile has like actually got a little bit bigger and we're going to do something about it. I'm tackling things that I have been avoiding for a very long time, some of them years, but you know what? We're going to figure it out together. It's not going to be perfect, you know, but it's going to be better than nothing. And that's kind of the spirit, you know? The first thing on the list of mending, this dress, it's not really mending, it's just fixing a mistake that I made when I was sewing it. You might remember this was the dress I made in my last video. And I mentioned in the end that I hadn't trimmed these, the excess of these seams. So I'm gonna go in and fix that now. Let's unpick this first things first. So I never do like really sturdy backstitching or anything around here because it's like, you just need it to be tacked down. And now I'm just gonna take my pinking shears and it has been raining nonstop for, I don't know, like 2 weeks. I think now we've had like hurricane type winds. The weather's been really crazy and really bad and quite scary at times. We had one also last year, a hurricane type thing here where I live. It was at night and the noise was insane. Like it felt like the windows were gonna smash in, you know? I'm just gonna stitch this back down. And I thought to myself, well, we're not going to see another one of these for a while, you know? And we had another one and it was really bad in some areas. It wasn't super, super bad in where we live specifically. In those areas, a lot of houses are just rubble. Luckily, there were not that many casualties. Yeah, it's just the weather's been really, really extreme. It's been very cold. It's just been a really miserable winter so far. I hope the weather goes back to normal soon, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse every year. So, mending. So that's been going on. What else has been happening in my life? I thought this video we could do like hanging out, chatting. I think changing my schedule, like my posting schedule, to be less, to post less often right now is working really well for me because I don't feel as pressured if I need to take a day off to rest because obviously my chronic illness. I can do that guilt-free and I feel like I'm recovering better from bad days because I don't have that constant feeling of like I'm falling behind while I'm trying to rest. I think it's best to be consistent even if I'm not posting every single week. It's kind of weird because I think I'd be making content even if I wasn't trying to be like, you know, get paid for it because I really do enjoy doing this. Not just to like sewing and showing you what I'm doing and stuff. I actually just really enjoy making videos and like talking to the camera. Like I've always really enjoyed that. Like I had a channel before this one where I made content about my chronic illness, about my life with that, but I haven't really posted on there for a long time. Dress is done. That took less than 10 minutes. I'd also started working for a brand making sewing content for them. And I started this channel. Yeah, then I stopped working with that brand or I stopped making content for them. It kind of sucked because that was kind of my only income because of the chronic illness. I can't really work. The next thing I'm doing is I have this pillowcase and it has this tear. I checked my handy make, do, and mend and it told me to do something, so I'm going to try it, but I don't know. I've never done this type of darning before, so we will see. I'm gonna get my darning egg. I just need to have like a little bit of tension, I believe. They said to first join the edges. I'm not gonna pull too tight. I just want the edges to be touching. And I am not like striving for an invisible finish because I mean, this is the first time I've ever done this, so it's not gonna be perfect as long as the hole is covered and the fabric is kind of stronger. That's good enough for me. Oh, as I was saying, it's kind of hard to explain. Like the illnesses that I have, I'm not like disabled enough to have support from the government or like any kind of help, but I'm also not healthy enough to reliably get a job. Physically am not able like commute somewhere every day. It's really difficult to like navigate. I'm really privileged because my partner has a really good job that can support us both. But, you know, it's not my ideal situation. I would love to, you know, be able to support myself. I do apologize if the sound quality is different now. I do have like a sewing planner that's like a PDF, like a printable that you can get. And I made it myself. I also have an affiliate link with Minerva. I'm not saying like you have to go and buy things from them or buy my planner. I mean, you should buy my planner because I put a lot of work into it and it is really nice. But I'm just like not the kind of person who's very like pushing the products and sales and stuff. Like I worked in a boutique when I was in my 20s, and we got paid based on commission, and I was really bad at it because I just didn't want to force people to buy things they didn't want to buy. I just felt bad pushing things and like being really pushy about it. So I'm not a very good salesperson, and I think that's like a hindrance in this case. I don't know. I would really love to have like some sort of monetization, mostly because it'd just be nice to be paid for my work. Even though I enjoy it and I would do this anyway, I'm gonna keep doing it even if I don't get paid. It would just be nice to get paid. Ironically, I wanted to be a fashion designer for the longest time, and the reason I didn't go to fashion school was because I hated the fashion world because of all of its unethical practices. I never wanted to be a part of that, and I guess that now I get to do something that I do really enjoy, which is designing and making clothes, working with textiles, but in a way that works for me, in a way that is more sustainable and more ethical, I guess. I've been kind of trying to be consistent because I would like to be monetized. I would like for this to be my job. I already kind of look at it as my job. And like sometimes brands will send me stuff for free, which is great, but it does not pay the bills, as I am sure you're all very aware of. So I only take free fabric or whatever for things that I'm actually already planning on making. So in that scenario, it is saving me money. I had this old bed sheet. This has nothing to do with what I'm talking about, but I had this old bed sheet that my grandmother had darned all over. And it looked so neat and tidy, and mine looks like a hot mess. I'm gonna keep working over it because I feel like it is doing something. Maybe I should have done it on the wrong side. That's kind of been on my mind. I guess I feel guilty. That's the thing. And I think that's something that I need to work on personally. I feel guilty asking you, like, can you check out my coffee page and like leave me a tip? Can you go buy my thingy? I always think, well, I've said it once so people know. I think I need to work on that with just reminding people that like you don't have to, but if you want to, that is an option. Yeah, so I end up like kind of censoring myself a lot. I want to censor myself less and to actually like try the ideas and see for myself if they work or not. This is one of those ideas. I've never posted a video where I chat just about me. I enjoy content like that. I enjoy watching like really chill stuff, like people just chatting about whatever they're doing or whatever they're going through. I want to keep making content that I enjoy watching. So yeah, I'm just gonna try this year to be a bit more true to myself and like maybe not censor myself so much. If nothing else, it'll be a good exercise for me. Oh, it does look better on the inside. Damn it. So that is what it looks like on the outside. But it is a little bit textured. On the inside, it looks like this. So it's a little bit less visible on the inside. That is 2 things mended. The next thing I need to mend is this pair of pajama trousers that have a pretty sizable hole in the back. I made these a very long time ago. I think I didn't sew it all that well, like, I don't know, because the stitches kind of popped, but it's basically just sewing this together on the machine. My bottom tension is all over the shop, so I need to figure that out first. I'm gonna find where the stitching ends, and I want to start sewing a little bit further up so that I can lock that in and like backstitch there to keep it secure. And then I'm gonna sew all the way to where I have stitches again, but again go a little bit further down and backstitch here to keep it nice and secure, and that'll be stronger than ever. I don't remember what my seam allowance was for this, so I'm just gonna sew close enough, you know? pajama pants are done. Now, the next thing is also going to be the trickiest because I also have never done this. So I have this pair of jeans. I bought them, it was still COVID times. Honestly, they were pretty cheap. I could just throw them out and buy a new pair, but that's not what we're about here. It has a bunch of places where it's wearing thin, some places along the seams, especially between the thighs. On the seams, it's getting very worn. And then there's also this bit at the front, the fly, where it's to the point where the fabric is completely gone. It's just a few loose threads here. So usually you fix these with denim. I don't have any denim in my stash, which is insane. I have a giant bin. Where is it? You can't see it, it's just off camera. I have a giant bin full of fabric scraps, and I don't have like one single piece of denim. I had some flannels and I had some baby cords, but I've decided to go bedsheet cotton. I don't know why I've decided to go with that. I could probably go with, I could do the flannel because that will be soft and it'll be a bit sturdier, like it's a little bit thicker than this stuff. You know what? I'm gonna try with the flannel because I think that'll be a little bit sturdier. So I'm going to cut a little square with my pinking shears. And I'm gonna take this and stick it in under the fabric. I'm gonna start with this section near the zipper. And then I'm going to sew over this. I think you just sew back and forward. I think it's working. I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely sturdy now. And the back looks like this. So now I just have to trim this. All right, now I just have to do that everywhere else. It is a couple days later now. So I didn't work on this yesterday because I was having a bit of a flare-up with my sciatica. I sound like an 80-year-old woman, but I feel better today, which is great. A little bit of joint pain, but I think it's because the weather's about to change, which again makes me sound like an 80-year-old lady. No offense to 80-year-old ladies, I cannot wait to be one. So last time we checked in, I was working on mending these jeans. For the bit on the zip, I also have figured out I'm gonna add a little square of fabric in here and then sew over it through all of the layers. I thought that was gonna be the last thing I mended in this video, but then on that day that I was filming, when I took off my trousers that I was wearing, I realized that they need a little bit of mending, and I also, the blouse that I wore yesterday, I realized that that needs a couple of stitches. Also, I showed my partner the jeans and like the mending, the fixing that I was doing, and he remembered that he has a couple of jeans that also have patches where they're like worn and thin, and he'd asked me if I can mend those for him as well. Okay, so the trousers are these ones. I made them here on the channel if you want to check that out. Right here on the, around the zipper, can you see? It's sort of, there's a little, and also the zipper is coming undone. So I need to stitch this back down and then sew this back up together. Let me get some brown thread. I think this is the thread I used to make these. I'm not sure, don't remember, but that's okay. Where are my scissors? My desk right now, I'm telling you, it is a mess. I have so many things on here. I'm filming this video, so I have stuff for that. And then I have another 2 videos that I'm working on and the stuff I need for that. And another project that I want to make for myself. Okay, so I'm gonna start with backstitching the zipper back in place. All right, now I've done the zipper, so now I'm just gonna fold this with the right sides together and add a few stitches here so it stays in place. It's actually quite sunny today, like in and out. It's the first time we've seen the sun in quite a few days, which is unusual for Portugal. We do get a lot of rain, contrary to popular belief. It's not always sunny, but we usually have a few sunny days in between, and that has not been the case this winter. All right, another thing finished. Okay, so the blouse that I need to mend is this one because I don't know if I forgot, I think I forgot to tack down the facings. So whenever I put it on, the facings flap out and it really annoys me. And every time I wear it, I think, oh, I really need to fix that. And then I don't. The whole like mending thing, obviously I think this is better for the planet. And we're living through very difficult times. I think that a lot of people will need this sort of skill that they haven't needed before. I think also it's a way for us to buy less stuff and maybe support some people, some bad people, a little bit less. I know that me, fixing my things and making them last longer, that in and of itself is not going to save the planet. And it's also not going to be, the revolution that we need. But I also think that if I don't do it, I'm just adding to the problem. And I think it's like a little bit of doing my bit, It's hard right now. It feels like all of these bad things are happening, and some of them we can do something about, and then some of them there's only so much we can do. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't matter what we do, nothing will help. But I think that's kind of what they want us to think, what they want us to feel. Okay, blouse is tacked down. Stuff right now is hard, and I've always been like, oh, I'm not going to talk about these topics because it's like not my place. This is a channel where we talk about crafting. I do have beliefs. I do have thoughts on what's going on. When I got really sick, and I know it's not the same thing, but a lot of times I was really overwhelmed by it, and I felt really hopeless and really like, what's my future going to look like? Like, is this my life now? So I think even though it's a different situation, the feeling is very similar. And I know that like there were times when I had to address the thing and do things that were going to hopefully change how I was doing and improve my health, and that were really difficult and really challenging and quite scary. But then there were times when I really needed to just not think about it and to like still have whimsy and still have creativity and still have joy for life. I ran out of battery, so we're changing angles. Anyway, I was saying is crafting was a refuge that I found. I wanted this place, this page, this YouTube channel, my socials to be a place people can go to enjoy their hobby, to enjoy their craft, and to like get a little respite from whatever they're going through. I know how much that helped me push through and keep going and, not give up. Sometimes I feel really silly. I'm like, oh my God, all of this stuff is happening and I'm just sitting here mending jeans and making a video about it. Like, who cares? But I think that's kind of the point. It's important to have places where we're safe, where we can all come together around one thing that brings us joy and that doesn't make us feel hopeless. I'm gonna sew my jeans now. You know what, actually, I think I'm gonna change my presser foot. I'm having a hard time like seeing what I'm doing. And I have this other presser foot, where is it? That came with my machine, which is completely transparent. And I think I'm gonna try that because that will help me see what I'm doing a little bit better. Oh yeah, that's much better. Okay, first of all, it's a hot mess. But yeah, you can see the jeans. You can hardly see the presser foot. So this way I can actually see where I'm sewing and where it needs to go, where I need to go next. All right, so that is it. I'm done. So let's do a quick recap, okay? On the green dress, I removed the excess seam allowance. On this floral blouse, I tacked down the facings. I fixed my jeans. I think I probably could have used thread that matched the color of the denim better, but now I just have to figure out the mysterious stains that I found during this process. Like, I washed them before doing this, but that is a job for another day. I also mended my brown flannel trousers. They're good as new. I did this pillowcase, and this one taught me quite a lot. I saw in the little Make, Do, and Mend book that you can do it inside out on some things, and it's better. And I was like, it can't make that much of a difference. It does make a difference. They were right. I think it still turned out pretty good. It's visible, but I don't mind. It's a pillowcase. And I also mended these pajama trousers, which was basically just sewing up the seam. I also did my partner's trousers. He had 2 pairs of jeans that had the same issue, like a gaping hole here. So I tried to color match the denim as well as I could, but because the fabric's like gone quite light around that area, but if I did white, it would still be like really stark. I think it won't be super conspicuous. You can tell a lot more on camera than you can in real life. So I did these and I did these. Where are you? I think this one turned out a little bit better. See, the thing is, it looks really dark on camera, but really, it's still quite dark, but it's not as dark because I used white thread underneath. I didn't like count all of the time that I was working the other day when I started. I think I started at like 4:30 and I worked until 6:30. And I'm including in this like chat time, okay? Time that I'm just sitting here chatting or setting up the camera or whatever. So I did 2 hours on that day. And today I did, I think like an hour and a half today. 3.5 hours, I did all of this mending, 8 articles, 3 of which was like quite intensive, like sewing, darning and stuff. So all of these pieces are gonna go back into our wardrobes and into usage in our house and have their life extended, which is pretty exciting. I hope you enjoyed this more chill, hangout, chatty video. Let me know if you'd like more videos like this where we're just hanging out. All right, so usual things. You can subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That would be very helpful. I post every other Friday. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post on there a little bit more regularly. And you can also go on Coffee and like give me a tip, or you can purchase my printable sewing planner. And I'll see you in the next video.